Oh,
There we go.
all right. So, um, what is it about like the farm and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I'd love to get into it, man. So, over the last 3 years, I'll start there when I began my whole food plant-based journey. Never thought in a million years that I would be venturing out to try animal products because I had been conditioned to believe that all animal agriculture and farming is like unethical. And um, that came from a lot of what really does ring true, like in terms of that 99.9% of the agriculture industry is very unethical. Um, and I became aware of that early on, and didn't really open up my mind enough to look at the other point of view, the other perspective that um, over the course of thousands of years, humans have always, when they have farms, when they're growing food, it's always been a combination of plants and animals. And the way that the animals provide back to the soil by their giving their nutrient, giving their what's it called, their fertilizer, back into the earth. That's actually a very essential part of the process to restore and regenerate the soil after you grow something on it. And I used to live on a farm in Ecuador, Fruit Haven Eco Village, and they spent 7 years reforesting the Amazon, using only fruit trees with no animals. And their neighbors, all the people around them, were growing animals and were doing fruit trees as well. And what I learned when I was there is that permaculture in of itself, the style of farming that is all about regeneration, does not necessarily require um, you to be growing animals in the beginning. But the word permaculture itself, it means a complete symbiosis with all forms of life, with the plants, with the animals, and with the humans, that they can all live together in harmony. And if you think about it in the long term, how this has been achieved, it's not been achieved by, um, you know, just letting the animals around you to go go wild, because a lot of times, especially in the winter, somewhere here like in America, you don't have the ability to grow crops all year round, and sometimes those animals are going to be your best source of food and nutrition,
Yeah.
and they're pretty necessary actually, in many ways. So different circumstances permit different things. And for a place like where I was living at in Ecuador, where they were at, like they they were able to do have really good progress to like find ways to live in harmony with nature and rebuild back the land without having to use animals. But they even themselves admitted and said like they're eventually going to have to start getting some animals, unless they want to just keep buying bags and bags of manure, which that's not very environmentally sustainable for like them, that having to get all this manure shipped from all over the world that has all this ecological impact, when they could just have animals there on the farm to give them the fertilizer that they need to grow their crops.
Yeah.
And even regardless whether they eat them or not, but like, if even if they don't eat them, they're still, those animals are still going to
Yeah.
die. you know so that's basically what my newfound understanding has been, to realize how this industry, like, a lot of it is unethical, but if you find a place that's doing it the right way, it's actually a much better option, especially if your only other choice is going to a grocery store where the food is picked unripe, grown with all types of pesticides and chemicals that harm the planet, and you know um, that they're doing monocropping and different farming methods that are really bad as well.
Yeah.
you know.
What do you mean by unethical?
Uh, when I say unethical, I just mean in a way that is out of harmony for the planet, for the animals, and for the people.
Okay.
Yeah, in a way that doesn't support life, that doesn't support sustainability.
Like to health as well, or
Yeah, health is, yeah, exactly, like
okay.
when it comes to how it affects humans in particular, because that's another road that I also for many years was programmed and conditioned with, to think that, you know, that the whole food plant-based diet was the only way to go in terms of if I wanted to have the healthiest diet. And I think for some people that have certain different body types, and also where they live in the world, if they're somewhere in the tropics where they have access to, you know, all kinds of locally sourced produce all year round, that that can be the possibly the best option for them, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell anybody what's they should be consuming or what is the best for them, because I can't say that. But what I can say from my own experiences and research and observations, that you know, I felt great from the whole food plant-based diet. um, and I think, like, when it comes to longevity, you want to have a balance, to have lots of whole plant-based foods into your diet regardless. But there's things that come from animals that you can't find within just plant foods. A lot of
Yeah.
nutrients that it's very the research is there to show that it's very clear that there's things you just can't get from plants that are only found in animals. And you know, when I first experimented to try this for the first time, it was a huge eye-opening thing for me, like, to realize how much I've been missing out on. Because like, all of the different, you know, beneficial compounds that are in those animal products, they really revealed to me what I was lacking. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm coming from the perspective of somebody that realizes our truest source of nourishment and, you know, fulfillment, it comes from the frequency, energy, and vibration. It's not necessarily based on your what you physically eat and what you physically consume, but more more so, it's the energy that you hold, the frequency and the vibration that you hold, that dictates, you know, what condition that you will be in, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, you know. um but the frequency of, you know, being in that state of limitation and lack, and um you know, thinking that things have to be done this way and not having an open mind to explore new things, that is a frequency that I no longer desire or wish to hold. You know, I wish to be in a state where I am completely open to any and everything
Yeah.
that could, you know, bring me closer to myself, to my optimal state of my highest potential, so
Yeah.
that, you know, I can be my best version of myself and s- make the best impact on this world that I know I'm meant to have. And, you know, allow myself to be a channel and a vessel for source and God, universe, whatever you want to call it, to flow through me. And yeah, not to just live from a limited egotistical state, but to see the bigger picture, to see what I truly am, who I truly am, and why I incarnated into this earth. And so when it comes to purifying your vessel to be able to receive that level of potential, that level of energy and vibration to hold, um, you know, properly nourishing yourself is a very big role in it. But it's not the end all be all. That's basically just the point I'm making there. Um, but yeah, nourishing, finding that true nourishment. What I've realized, like, we are 80% water in our body, and our blood is like the life force. It's the thing that keeps us, that makes us alive. And what milk is, what these animal products are that I've been consuming over the last few weeks, they're derivatives of the blood. They're derivatives of the life force that, you know, keeps these animals alive. And they give it to their babies because that's basically what, their babies need, the best thing that they can possibly have to, help them grow. And their milk is very similar in composition to human colostrum, like the mother's milk from a human. So to just dismiss and to think that, like the argument that most vegans make, oh, that's cow's milk, it's meant for the cow, not meant for a human.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it on a chemistry level, like on a biological level, the composition of the cow and the human, it's like 99% similar. So, that right there shows that, well, maybe there is still a lot of beneficial substances in there, that if it's truly like the most nourishing thing that the baby can possibly consume, maybe, just maybe, there's some good stuff in there for humans too. you know
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a huge mind-opening shock for me when I first tried it and kind of experienced that for myself. And now I'm starting to realize that, you know by uh by allowing myself to have all of these different, balances in terms of what I consume, I can get the best from my diet, from um my overall energy, and just be able to use that to, create the the reality of my highest potential. So, like, that's
Yeah.
basically right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
couldn't
man.
have said it any clearer.
Huh?
That's basically as clear as I can make it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I haven't made the action to eat meat yet, but I've already made the decision because I've been um like ignoring my body for so long because of um first it was because of like, the veganism beliefs and stuff, but then as like I guess you could say, like, my body kept on like fiending for it more,
Mhm.
ended up turning into like, instead of like me not eating meat because of a belief, it like manifested into me not eating meat because of a fear.
Yeah,
And
that's different. Mhm.
like some that I recently learned like a couple days ago was I'm not going to talk too much on this, but because I'm still like figuring out more about like how would you say this, like the whole argument thing. Like I don't really know enough to um like stand in my ground when like someone that eats a vegan diet like asks me why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I'm still figuring all that out. And but what I have is basically just like I'm just following what my body's telling me to do. And like
Exactly.
if I'm ignoring that, I've now like noticed that that is so bad. And
Mhm.
there's this like thing that I like this belief that I believed for a long time is that like that me like craving meat is like the parasites or something. Like
Right.
you know what I'm talking
That's
about?
yeah, I
And
also
it's
thought
like,
that too.
and like some that I learned is that how to know, someone told me this. I don't know if it's 100% true, but it makes sense. They told me they said how to know the difference between if something's parasites or if your body needs it is that, you know, like if it's parasites, then it eventually goes away. Like if your body needs it, it's not gonna stay for like
Hmm.
years and years. Like
Right.
it's not gonna be something that you're like constantly pondering if you should like go back and do it. It's not gonna be like you're not gonna be like it's not going to involve like your mentalism where you're like thinking about switching your beliefs and stuff. Like that's when it like goes into like your body and what you feel you should do and stuff, because that's what I kind of noticed, like, and what kind of made me go into the decision of eating meat again is, and like moving past like all the fear, is freaking alchemy. Like
Hmm.
claiming my alchemist and saying like I have the power to like transmute fucking anything.
Yeah.
And like a long time ago, when I was like, even when I was vegan, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and we were talking about meat and how like, you know, we were embodying the vegan diet, and we were just thinking like, yo, like imagine consuming meat and how from an intentional place, how powerful that would be. Like,
Hmm.
and it's from that level, like we would just look at it as like this masterful fucking magician stuff. And
Yes.
now like I'm going in that direction. And right now I'm in the process of, I'm really close to like um, you know, getting like actually purchasing the meat, but I've
Right.
been recently I've been like getting closer to my ancestors, and I've been for my entire life I've been like disconnected from them. And because of me like eating meat, I want to do it in a way that is like
Honoring the
honoring.
ancestors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I want to like know how my ancestors honored them so I can get closer to like my ancestors.
Go out and kill the animal yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Like I want to know like the spiritual aspect of it, like what they did and how they went about it and
True. Yeah.
stuff.
It
Yeah,
wasn't just like they're going out to hunt for fun. A lot of it, they did it very ritualistically, very ceremoniously, and with the utmost respect for the animal too,
yeah,
realizing that the animal is a sacred being, and they never take more than what they need. They they do you know, take a life knowing that it's a sacrifice for a greater good. That's basically what, you know, the ancestors did when it came to sacrificing the animals for what they needed. Um, and yeah, I wanted to just touch before we go any further upon the points that really stuck out, because you said a lot of things that really hit home for me too.
yeah,
Um, First thing, when you said that in the beginning, um, you were coming at it like when you were on the whole food plant-based journey, you you were afraid of eating meat because you had all of these programs from society, from other vegans and stuff about like how it's you know how the meat itself is filled with all the fear of the animal, and that it's like got all of these parasites and different bad things inside of it.
Yeah.
That's um yeah, that was the same thing for me for a long time. And the thought, even just the thought of me eating meat, like just horrified me, because I was like, man, to have that in my body, like just
Yeah.
this huge feeling of unease and uncomfort. And then I started to realize, like, the next point that you made there about how people think that it's just their parasites that are giving them the cravings to eat the meat. um,
Yeah.
I started to do more research to realize, like, well, what is even a parasite and why are they in our body? And is there a possibility that they're not all of these completely evil things that we make them out to be? And well, so really, a parasite, when you break it down, it's something that feeds off of uh, something that's inside of its host. And it needs a host in order to survive. Um, and you think about the reason, how did all these parasites get into our bodies? Why do we have them inside of us? And the reasoning is because, like, if you look back, hundreds of years ago, before humans were eating processed junk foods, when they were connected to their natural ways, they didn't have nearly as many issues with parasites, and like being so concerned with you know pasteurizing all their products to make sure you kill all the parasites, and like processing everything to kill all
Yeah.
the bacteria
Yeah.
and all that. They didn't see germs or bacteria or parasites or things as the enemy. They actually saw it as, like, by allowing yourself to consume things in their whole natural state, you're getting all that bacteria and it's building your immune system, and ultimately you are the greatest healer. Your body is the greatest healer. you know that's how the ancestors lived. That's what they knew deep down, and they didn't rely on all of these modern pills and medicines in order to heal them, which,
Yeah.
I mean, you know 99% of things in the medical industry are not healing people. They're just suppressing symptoms and deep down making things worse. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
They realized that, yeah, the natural way of living is what is going to allow them to be the healthiest and to not have to worry about disease. um, and they didn't see the parasites as the enemy. But nowadays, with all the things that people are consuming, all the processed foods and all the stuff that nature never intended us to be ingesting, well, our bodies can't break that stuff down because they never were evolved or designed to break it down. So, what is the only solution then? You need some outside entity or some outside, something that can break that down. And parasites are really the only solution for that. And they're not feeding, a lot of times, these parasites, they're not feeding on, like, the good stuff inside your body. They're feeding on the bad stuff. Like, that's what they thrive on. And the breeding grounds for these parasites is mucoid plaque. And mucoid plaque is hardened feces of all the stuff that your body can't break down, that gets stuck inside your intestines and your colon. And that's where all the parasites live, and that's what they thrive on. So they're not thriving on, like, the good stuff. They're thriving on all the shit that you put in your body.
Mm.
And
I haven't heard of that perspective before.
yeah, I mean, it's literally the truth. If you do the research, you look
Yeah.
into it enough, you can't deny that. I'm not saying anything that can't be denied. Like, this is
Yeah.
facts. Um, and so looking at it from that perspective, um, I don't see it as like such a bad thing. I think that if you like the real way to tell whether it's a quote unquote parasite or something demonic or something that's evil, that's not in alignment with your highest good. The way to tell if it's that or if it is something that's truly good is how you feel from it. Do you feel
Yeah.
drained or do you feel empowered? You know, and to say that, uh, you know, without me even ever having tried a raw, like grass fed, like really properly raised animal product, and for me to say that that thing is bad, that it's just my parasites craving it, it's not me,
Yeah.
without even ever having experienced or tried it to see how I feel from it. I mean, that's just what's it called? I mean, ignorance,
Yeah.
just for lack of a better word. But really, it's more. There's another better word for it. It's, I don't know why it's escaping me. Um, yeah, but anyway, you know, that's what I realized. I've literally been living that way for my entire life, and because I had never even given it a shot to see how I feel from this, and now that I know, I do feel like my hormones are being much more balanced, that my overall energy and drive is way higher than it's ever been, and that like I I just feel at ease within my body. Well, I know that it's definitely not something that's bad or parasitic, you know, and
Yeah.
it's not like just a temporary stimulation. You know, that's what most people confuse it for. They think that something is good for them if they get like a temporary stimulation from it, and they go back to it. That's parasitic right there. That's, you know, the addictions to sugar, the addictions to processed foods, which a lot of vegans have. That's right, that stuff right there is very parasitic, because you're addicted to it, you're reliant upon it, and when you go without it you feel drained, you know, and you only get a very temporary boost or satisfaction from it. But something
Yeah.
that you feel good consistently over a long time from, like you were saying, that's how you know it's without a doubt good for you. um so yeah, that's basically the points I wanted to make. um and I'm really glad to hear that you're, you know, making the steps, starting to make the
Yeah.
steps to try this. And there was something that came to my mind when you were speaking about it too, like about how it would be, think, you know, when you were thinking back when you were vegan, how it would be to intentionally eat an animal. um there was a video. Do you know who Martin Kenny is by any chance?
No.
No, he's a spiritual thought leader that I've been following for many years. And he once said that, this was like 2 years ago in one of his lectures, that he was basically talking about how to unlock the 12 strands of DNA, how to unlock the Christ consciousness, the, you know, basically the highest potential as a human being. Um, and he was saying, like, what it's really about, exactly what I told you before about opening up your heart, opening up your mind and your body and soul, um, to the highest frequencies, um, is that like anything that is in limitation or in lack is of a limited bandwidth, and therefore it's not your highest potential. And so if you have a belief that, you know, meat is going to, you know, kill you, or that it's like something super bad, and you have that limiting belief, then in order for you to reach the next strand of DNA, to unlock the next potential inside yourself, you might have to do something as drastic as going out and eating meat, you
Yeah.
know, so that you can break past that fear. Uh, and that really rang true to me back when I heard it back then. And only now to this day am I starting to realize like how true that was, what he said
Yeah.
there. And what you said was basically just reiterating that. So I'm really glad you see it too.
Yeah. Another thing that I was thinking about is I can't really speak for anyone else, but like, well, this is kind of speaking for other people, but like kind of just that's not really the intention behind it. It's just to make it's just something that I was thinking about is that like maybe like the whole meat is bad thing, like what kind of meat are we talking about? Because like
Mhm.
the meat of like the whole meat industry is big, it's not even meat. It's has
Yeah,
all this shit in it, right?
right.
So
Fillings.
like
Yeah.
it like this is another thing too, like the meat industry, they don't want you eating raw meat. So how
Right.
is raw meat bad? That's what
Hmm.
I was thinking. Like, how
Exactly.
is raw meat bad when like they aren't producing it? So like
They're
I don't know
banning
if
it.
that makes sense, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's
It
basically,
does.
yeah. So that's another thing that I was thinking about. And like mostly like why does raw meat, like real meat, have to be associated with like badness and like all like the whole veganism belief? Why does it have to be thrown in the category of like this has all this shit in it when like they could be unconsciously talking about or thinking that all meat is the same when really we've been programmed and brought up to eat meat that has all this shit in it. So like
Exactly.
that's the shit I've been thinking about, bro.
Hmm. So true. Yeah, the same companies that's pushing vaccines on us that we know are like depopulating the world
Yeah,
and pushing McDonald's and all these processed junk foods on us all day through the TV, through the ads and everything.
yeah,
To think that they have our health in our best interest, and the fact that they say no, never eat a raw meat product, never, you cannot even sell any type of raw meat or raw animal products in stores now. And the farm that I buy my stuff from, they're facing a $250,000 lawsuit for selling raw products. Uh, like, to think that those people actually have your best interest in hand, I mean, you've got some next level like programming that's inside
yeah,
of you. Like, I don't even know what to say to that.
yeah,
Like, there's a reason why they don't want you to eat that stuff, and there's a
yeah,
reason why they're promoting the vegan agenda too,
yeah,
right now, with Bill Gates, that you know he's the one that is funding. He's buying up all this farmland and funding like the Beyond Meat products and like all the fake processed vegan foods,
yeah,
saying that this is what we have to do because the animal industry, it's destroying the environment, when it's not necessarily the like just the fact that animals exist and that they're being farmed that's the bad thing. It's the way of farming that he's literally supported and produced and helped out. That's the real problem. The way that they're growing the with using all these chemicals and pesticides and you know
yeah,
factory farming rather than like pasture raised, free range and all that kind of stuff. That's the bad thing, but he's literally promoting that with the monocropping and promoting all these fake vegan processed foods and saying, yeah, the world's got to go vegan, you know? So just take a look at that, and you'll like, there's really nothing you can say to it. I mean, if you think that there's no alternate agenda, you're completely asleep.
yeah, yeah. And like going into like another topic, kind of backtracking to what we were talking about before of like fear of eating meat and like me personally within my journey, like thinking it's low vibrational or whatever, like I've now like kind of stepped into this thing, and this, it doesn't logically make sense, especially if I were to be in like a debate with someone talking like this wouldn't make any sense, but it doesn't fucking matter. So basically, like instead of like looking at it as like I'm going back to eating meat, or like going back, like instead like looking at it as like just like it's not going back. Like when I used to eat meat before, it was in a whole nother conscious perspective, wasn't aware of what I was eating. It's a whole nother thing, to where now I'm contacting the farms, trying to be aware of all this shit. It's on a whole nother fucking wavelength. So like it's not even like this like low vibrational, low consciousness thing. It's like it's not even to be compared of how I used to consume meat. It's like on a whole nother fucking wavelength. And like instead of like me looking at myself as like, oh, like I'm a meat eater or I'm a vegan, I'm more so looking at it as like I'm everything, even though that doesn't necessarily logically make sense, because if like you can't be everything and a vegan at the same time. But what I mean is like just fucking making use of everything, just eating everything what feeds your body, that is of like the highest good to your body. Not, I don't mean eating everything as in fucking going out and fucking eating some processed sugar and shit. More so talking about like um how our ancestors did it. Like they ate freaking everything.
Yeah. Hey, let me clarify. So what you mean when you're saying I am everything, you're realizing that like the world that we live in is made up of consciousness. And you when you think about what is truly low vibrational and what's truly high vibrational, it's not like necessarily the act of eating meat that is low vibrational, or not that any one particular thing at all is low vibrational. It's the level of consciousness that you hold when you do a certain action that dictates how low vibrational or high vibrational it really is, because what vibrations really are, their consciousness, so by you becoming more aware, like you said, reaching out to these farms, becoming more aware of what you're putting into your body and where it came from, how it's grown and all that stuff, that is you being on a higher level of consciousness. And that
Yeah.
in itself, that's high vibrational. um, and even if you're going out and eating some bullshit, going out and doing that type of dumb stuff, I mean, like, I'm not going to say necessarily dumb, but if you're going out and doing that and you're doing it from a high consciousness standpoint of like,
Yeah.
I want to be fully aware of everything that I'm doing right now and how it affects me, and then use that as uh, the lesson or the guidance for me to find out the things that really do bring me into a higher state of consciousness. you know
Yeah.
that right there, I can't say it's a bad thing. Can't say it's a bad thing for someone to go out and eat some shitty food, you know because
Yeah.
literally that might spark your mind and your brain to raise up your consciousness so high, because if you're fully aware of how you feel when you put that stuff in your body, you'll be like, damn, I'm never doing this shit again. And
Yeah.
that might be exactly what you need to turn yourself and get to raise yourself up to that next level, you know
Yeah.
um so I love that perspective and I love that standpoint, and that's exactly where I'm coming from too. And yeah, I can't knock anything out until I try it. And all I can do is come at it from that standpoint of being very intentional and realizing like it's all for me, like it's all about what is going to raise me up to the highest consciousness, you know. And I can't really say that this one thing is going to raise me higher or take me down lower until I experience it for myself.
Yeah. Something I was gonna say, but I kind of forgot the direction.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, that right there is gem, pure gems.
Yeah,
I told you, you knew we were going to be spitting gems on here.
yeah. I kind of remember what I was gonna say. It's like, wait, were you done with what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like me personally, I kind of detached myself from the whole like new age aspect
Hmm.
around just the new age of itself, but also like the whole vibrational thing. Like me personally, like that truth I don't like fuck with anymore.
Yeah.
Like because I see like what it's doing. Like uh it's like basically like seeing it from that true perspective. You don't want to be in a low vibrational state, then you start associating things with low vibrational, and then it
Hmm.
just ends up being this escapism thing. It's fucking
Exactly.
all over the place. But basically the whole meet like high vibrational and low vibrational thing, like of like consciousness and whatever, I think it just comes down to like it's either you're being conscious about what you're eating, or you don't know what you're eating, you're not reading, you're just consuming. That's what I think it comes down to, and that's what somewhat prefer to as low vibrational or unconscious. um and that's what I was basically talking about as like I'm not going back to um eating meat like how I was, more so um eating meat from like a new place.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brought up a major point for me too. That you're you cannot serve two masters. You can only either serve yourself, which truly, if we know what the true self is, that's also God. So we're either serving that, or we're serving somebody else that's benefiting from all that shit that we're putting in our body and benefiting from the control that they can have over us as humanity, the people at the top that are making all this money, that have these agendas where they're trying to control the masses. So either serving that master or serving yourself. Um, and when it comes to the whole low high vibrational thing again, um, I was coming from the perspective which some people think is tied into the new age agenda of like the breatharianism route, thinking that basically that our primary source of nourishment comes from the breath, and if we're able to go without consuming anything and pranic living, that will be how we unlock our highest potential, you know. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
just the way that I'm saying that, I'm making it seem like all twisted and everything, like it's just like it's just based in no sense of reality. But truthfully, like, if you extract it at the core level, there is truth in that. It's just that I think there is also another alternate agenda with the breatharianism, that they're trying to get people to starve themselves and to you know, basically steer them in the wrong direction of what they actually think they're doing, which that's what the new age really is. And just all about deception, like distorting truth. And so it has been distorted, but the way that I truly see it is that, like, as I said before, we are made of energy, frequency, and vibration, and that is without a doubt our number one primary source of what makes us up and what makes us who we are. And when you learn how to um, tap into that, tap into the elements around you, and cultivate that life force energy, that prana, that chi, whatever you want to call it. However, that works best for you, you know, I think that is the best way to go. And for some people, maybe it is better for them with their body types or whatever belief systems that they hold about reality, that it is better for them to, you know, consume less or not consume anything at all.
Yeah.
And maybe they feel the best from that. And I think you can unlock a lot of superhuman powers from fasting. So I'm not knocking that at all. I think there's a lot of benefits from fasting. Um, but going to, on too much of an extreme, especially, you know, with the way that we've been growing up, that we've been conditioned in our society to eat all of this trash foods and think that you can just go from that to breatharian overnight, you know, it's not going to happen. And a lot of people, they're just way too extreme on that
Yeah.
path in themselves, and it's really doing them much more harm than it is good. And
Yeah.
I even fell into that for a little bit. Like I had gone on fast for several weeks, and I think to a certain extent, you know, it is very healthy to do because it helps you get rid of the waste, get rid of the toxicity. But once you get past that point, your body is just eating itself alive, and like it's feeding on the things that, you know, um, it's not truly nourishing you or truly energizing you. You feel weak, and you don't want to feel weak. That's a sign that you're not properly giving your body what it needs. You know, you should be feeling strong,
Yeah.
and feeling good. But people literally trick themselves. Like I saw it firsthand into thinking that they're clean. They're cleaning themselves out when they're frail, fragile, and weak. Like having the strength of an 80-year-old man when they're in their 20s,
Yeah.
and thinking that's what health is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm feeling, man. Like, I'm not saying that it's like that. I'll never say like, and I hear this what you're saying too. Like, it's basically whoever it's all about listening to your body. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about eating meat, or it's not about just eating meat. It's not about just eating fruits. It's not about just consuming the breath, breathing. It's not about just veganism. Like, it's about everything, but more so following what you feel your body needs. And like, how do you know what your body needs? I guess it's either about just, you know, sitting with your body and intentionally tapping into it, or get into the point where you realize that you've been ignoring your body.
Hmm.
I mean, and that's what happened with me. Like the main reason of why I'm like eating or deciding to eat meat again is because I just feel so drained, like
Hmm.
so drained, like. And for a long time, like, I you know, um I didn't have like the proper vitamins or um other things that I need to integrate, and I integrated those things and they're in my diet, but I still like they help me quite a bit, but I still feel drained. And me personally, I don't exercise really like working out or anything. So it like came down to like after years of like feeling drained, it came down to like two things, that it's either that the reason why I'm drained is that I'm not as active as I should be, and I'm not like constantly moving my body every day, or it's because of something that I'm not consuming. And so now I'm in this point of saying, okay, I know for a fact from listening to my body that it has to do with either one of those two things or both of them. And I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
it's both of them, but I just like I've been like once I figured out like I've been ignoring my body for the past like few weeks. It's almost like my body has been like fiending more because I'm now listening to it, and I'm still not like eating meat. So like it's even more in this state of like wanting it because
Mhm.
now I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
And like there was like the past couple of days, or not the past couple of days, but the past couple of weeks, I literally felt like I like there's a part of me that convinced myself that I was like gonna die or some shit because of
Mm.
like how how much I'm paying attention to my body now and how much it's speaking to me.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like in this place of like when it came to like educating myself about meat, I knew it wasn't something that I could just like be like, oh, I'm gonna educate myself a little bit or whatever. No, like I knew I had to take action on it like right now.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm doing right now. And it's for like the purpose of like nourishment. Like there is another thing. I felt like I never like my like something that I really thought about like these past couple of weeks is like when was the last time I really felt 100% fulfilled and
Mhm.
not nourished, because I don't really know what nourished means like to like the technical level,
Yeah.
but like more so like fulfilled, like after a meal to be like I feel good basically. Like I haven't felt that since my last meal before I was vegan. So
Mhm.
that was like another thing too. And basically it's just all connecting these, I'm just connecting all these things from listening to my body. And it took me a long time to listen to my body. And someone that helped me listen to my body was this woman named Bree.
Mm.
Um, her Instagram, I don't want
Mark
to say it wrong. Like I know her, but her Instagram I think is like Marky One.
Marky.1. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know who you're talking about.
yeah. And like just by talking to her, like she didn't necessarily like instruct me or anything like through sessions or anything. She just by words that maybe she didn't even realize she was like really helping me with, but like just kind of like thinking about it for a while. You know, someone could just be talking like randomly like this, like, and just a little sentence could like impact someone's entire life, you know, even like within this call, someone,
Yeah.
you post this somewhere, something that we weren't really intentionally giving out to someone, they just pick up and they're like, whoa, and it like changes their whole like lifestyle and everything. So yeah.
That's literally what I was thinking, the same
Yeah.
exact thing.
Yeah.
Like I had no intentions to like post or anything, but with everything we've been talking about, I was thinking to myself, man, this could really like inspire a lot of people. So I was thinking I would definitely want to post this.
Yeah.
But that's so true. And the one point that really stood out for me too, that I really wanted to emphasize is when it comes back into um, that belief about how, like, where our true nourishment comes from, and how you were saying that like you never truly felt nourished. Like, we've been programmed to think that it's normal to feel like sluggish and tired after a meal, and that's why you never really thought twice about it. But now you're starting to listen to your body and realize, actually, that's not the way it's supposed to be. You shouldn't,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to feel sluggish and tired and like depleted and drained after a meal. You should be feeling energized. And if the food really was energizing us and it really was nourishing us, you would feel good after it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you know it's truly nourishing. And I've still felt that with vegan meals, but it comes down a lot to not only just what you're eating, but a lot of other factors too. And like you said, that not really exercising a lot, that does play a big influence into it,
Yeah.
because the number one way that our body detoxes is through movement and exercise, and our breath,
Yeah.
especially the way that we're breathing, which the way we exercise directly affects as well. So it's just, there's a whole interconnected loop there. I like the way that certified health nut, he says the 9 pillars of health, and I can't list all 9 of them right now, but you can look that up and you'll see those are all the areas that you want to tackle, that you want to balance, and
Yeah.
that's how you can um, truly get back to the state where you can really um, listen to your body to know what is going to nourish you, you know. And after having these meals that I've had, I can say for a fact that I do feel truly nourished from them, that I do feel better, like energized, that I can go out and do anything after this meal, which is way different than a
Yeah.
lot of vegan meals than I used to make too. So yeah, I see where you're coming from there. And I think, like, for each person there's a time and a place for everything. And um the greatest source of energy, it comes from within us at all times, and that right there is the most powerful realization that we can have, to realize that, like, we don't really need all these external things to feel a certain way, that really it does always come down to our own choice, like what vibration that we choose to hold, that will dictate uh how much energy that we really have. But just to emphasize it once more, um, there's a time and a place for everything. So where we are at right now in society, with people that have gone through so many years of putting waste in their bodies, they're not ready to fully embrace that and to, like, just live a breatharian lifestyle. And so for them, this is the kind of stuff that they need to hear. And when you move on, when you're a master yogi, master sage, and you can get to that point, like, you wouldn't even be listening to this video if you're at that point. You would be up there in the mountains in complete solitude,
Doing your shit. Yeah.
doing your shit, man. You know, so that's
Yeah.
not who we're speaking to. We're speaking to
Yeah.
the everyday people like you and
Yeah.
I. Um, and so we got to just be clear about where we're coming from, and what we're dealing with when we
Yeah.
tackle this. Because I also was someone that was very much subscribed to that belief system, and still am, as
Yeah.
far as like the
Yeah.
fundamental truth of it goes. Um, and even I've gone to the deepest depths of trying things that people would think is like the most extreme um, form of that, which is like urine therapy. And I've been doing that for 3 years too, and I still believe that what comes out of our own bodies, comes out the front end of our own bodies, is the most life-giving substance for us. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, not not everyone's there, not everyone's ready for that. And um, you know, it's not something I'm gonna push on people. It's like the main message what we're getting across here. Just listen to your own body. That's
Yeah.
really all I can say.
Yeah. Like another thing, I know this is kind of going into like the mental aspect, still like listen to your body too, but something I was just thinking about is like is like this is a question, like is meat acidic, or is it
Mm,
bad to eat acidic food? Because like
mm,
within the veganism thing, like that's like something you want to avoid, right?
yeah,
Oh
yeah, that's actually a huge thing. Like when I first got into veganism, I learned about it from Dr. Sabi,
yeah.
and he is the one that basically he's the biggest one promoting about the alkaline diet. And I mean, Dr. Robert Morse and Dr. Arnold are also really big influences on that. And I think a lot of the essence of their teachings is true, but applying that into our modern world nowadays, um, I think there's things that they taught which people skipped over or they didn't realize and that or they distorted, which is to say that, you know, like what is on Dr. Sabi's list as like the alkaline foods, that that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best thing that you can be putting in your body based on what you are, where you are. Because like say for example, he has on that list papaya is an alkaline food. If you go to a store and you buy a papaya from a supermarket that was shipped overseas, picked like way before it was ripe, there's not really many nutrients in it, and it's not something that it was in season, that was made for your climate where you're living, um, you know, and but something that does grow in your local area, like for example, there might be animals that grow there that produce milk, um, that that is actually without a doubt going to have much more nutrients and much more things that are beneficial to your body, and the things that will help your body maintain its pH level, because inside our bodies, if it's in the most healthiest natural state, our pH level is neutral. It's at 7. That's the pH of water, regular water. Um,
Yeah,
but
balance.
the
Yeah.
right, but the health issue that most people face is acidosis, where their bodies are too acid, and that's why you hear about the alkaline diet. Um,
Mm,
you know, but these people that are suffering from acidosis, which is most people in society, um, you know, they're they're what they really need is something that's going to bring their body back into balance, and to just eat something that is alkaline that'll raise their pH level, that it might give them a temporary, you know, like like a temporary balance in their pH level, but that's not going to solve the root cause of the issue. You know, the root
yeah.
cause of the issue is, do you have the vitamins, the nutrients, the minerals, the bacteria, the all the substances in your body that it needs in order to break down anything that, you know, whatever type of toxins that are coming in from the environment, from the air you breathe, from the things you eat, from the water you drink, from all of it. Do you have the right army, quote unquote, to fight all that stuff off? That's what's really the root cause that'll really address that issue. So I focus more on that personally rather than just whatever's the most alkaline, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that pretty much clears that point up for the most part, because that's a big thing, very big thing that I've also gotten into myself. Oh,
Yeah.
and Dr. Sabi even said that there he said there's one animal that is actually alkaline, and it's the water buffalo. And that's because the water buffalo has never been hybridized by man to and genetically modified to, you know, be for human consumption. And for that reason, it's stayed in touch with the natural way that it's evolved, and that for that reason he says it's alkaline. And the main point, like the main things of what he says is alkaline is like the foods that have been the least hybridized, the least genetically modified by man. So coming from
Yeah.
that standpoint as well, that I think that part of his teaching, that's really the truth that I resonate with. Eat the things that are as close to nature as possible, that are
Yeah.
close to their man-made modified forms. And that necessarily doesn't have to do with the pH level. That's just eating close to nature. And but it will balance out your pH to eat that way,
Yeah.
which is, I think that's basically what he was trying to say.
Yeah. Like a vision that I had when you were saying that's that like people that are like more so primarily in like a acidic level, for them to eat like more alkaline, it like throws them like they're already in like the other end of the spectrum, like
Yeah.
staying there, and then it throws them in the alkaline one. Then if they're there, they're also like, if they're there for a long amount of time and they start feeling like within their body they need to change, they've been there for too long, and then after that's when they like level out, you know. I
Right.
don't know if you're like seeing it like how I am, but
Yeah.
like they're one end on the acidic, like I'm kind of looking at it on like the pH chart, like they're on the red and then they move to the purple, then they go back to the green, like over time.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
it's a
It's kind of like
step by
what we're
step
doing.
process. Exactly. You can't just go from one extreme to the other and expect that to give you
Yeah.
the right results. It's baby steps, one step at a time. Um, and it's about not being too harsh on yourself. You should do the things that you truly enjoy, that you truly love, that truly make you feel good, and not try to just go into one extreme because that's what you heard is the healthiest, and go,
Yeah.
pushing yourself way too hard. That's not self-love. That's doing it out of fear or doing it out of anything other than self-love. You know, um, and if you want something that's truly sustainable, truly long-lasting, it has to be coming from that place of self-love, and it
Yeah.
cannot be coming from pushing yourself too hard.
Yeah. So it's basically just listening to your body is basically what it's all about. Yeah.
Can't say it enough.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's the mantra, man. Repeat it over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. Good, man.
I love myself. That's the mantra, actually, that I started repeating to myself when I got home today, because I had a kind of a really difficult day at work at the end, and it just got me into a state where I was starting to let that affect me. But then I just started repeating to myself, I love myself, over and over. And I
Yeah.
just realized, wow, nothing from the outside world can really affect me when I hold that vibration of self-love, you know. And I think sometimes we get distracted and we forget that, but we all know deep down that that is, you know, the the greatest way to approach anything in life. Um, so yeah, I think anything that anybody hears, if they're listening back and watching this video, like they they can have a different perspective, of course, because we all have different perspectives.
Yeah.
But there's fundamental things about what I shared and what you shared that are just the absolute truth. They're just
Yeah.
things that ring true for all of us. That self-love is the highest frequency, and that kind of stuff. And you know, that stuff can't be denied. So really just want to emphasize that and encourage people to hold on to those kind of things. Don't hold on to the stuff that is subjective. Hold on to the stuff that is objective, that without a doubt always stays true.
Yeah. something that I'm kind of thinking about now too is that like me listening to my body is me thinking for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you know this too, like since we're moving from like me and you personally moving from like out of the veganism lifestyle, we gotta like me personally, I was thinking to myself that like, okay, all these people are like-minded. We kind of think the same way, like spiritually to a certain extent. So I'm thinking that this is like the right way for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I realized that I actually wasn't thinking for myself because I wasn't listening to my body. So like coming back to like more of like what I feel like I need to do, which is, you know, going into this next level of transformation, is I'm now actually thinking for myself, because now like I'm able to see like the division now, like how like how like people that embody the veganism diet, not all of them, but a lot of them, like publicly project onto people that
That
eat
aren't
meat.
vegan. Mm-hmm.
And it's like coming out of the programming that like the veganism diet is the right way. Like now I'm going back into like listening to people that consume meat that are on like a level of like rebelling against like the veganism.
Yeah.
So I'm like programming myself a new way while also like breaking beliefs down of like the veganism. And like I'm able to see the division. And so now I'm more so like, instead of looking at like this side is the right side or whatever, I'm more so just like listening to my body and knowing that that in itself is me thinking for myself, which is the right side for me. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty
That's
much all I
huge.
gotta say about that. Yeah.
No, no, dude, I actually like as soon as I made that post, like where I was saying how I tried animal products for the first time in 3 years, I got a bunch of messages from my vegan friends saying like, you've lost touch with your ethical
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm no longer your friend. I,
Yeah.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ. How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah.
I got all the flack from everybody that I used to be on very good terms with, all just because I wanted to educate people on the things that are literally like scientifically observable to be true about what exists inside of these animal products that
Yeah.
has a beneficial effect on our body.
And also what's helping you, you know?
Yeah, and what's helping me, and not trying to say like that this is what people should be eating or what they should be doing, just sharing my own experience. Um,
Yeah.
and I've had to deal with that, and I realized like how deep that programming really is and how much I was into it not too long ago, and how much the people that I thought that were really like open-minded, that were open-hearted, that just want, to see the best brought out within themselves and within the people around them, that really they're still operating from that division perspective, like you're saying,
Yeah.
not even intentionally. They think that they're coming from that place of, you know, one love, that we gotta all love each other, and that kind of perspective, but really they're they're shaming and guilting and
Yeah.
excluding anybody that doesn't think exactly like them, and that is not a way to live and coexist with other
Yeah.
people. We have to respect and honor that other people have different beliefs, that have other traditions of cultures, backgrounds that they come from, that um it's that we can't all think the same way, and that's what makes us so unique and special. That's what makes this human existence so beautiful, is the fact that we all think differently and we all come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So why not just embrace that? Why not choose to learn from each other, to hear each other out, hear our perspectives, and just extract the things that resonate with us the most, rather than trying to fight other people and say that they're wrong and that they're
Yeah.
bad, you know? Because
Yeah.
how does it help them? How does it help you or them to do that?
Yeah. Like, I feel like a large, I would say mostly 100% of the reason, not 100%, but mostly the reason why people get so mad is because it has to do with like animals and taking animals' life, right? So like that's something that I'm trying to understand. It's like going back to like the whole ancestral understanding and the spiritual understandings of how to truly honor an animal while you're in the process of killing it. And I'm still trying to figure it out, but I know that it is real and it exists. And it's because, if I feel like I need to consume animals, I'm not just going to ignore my body and just be like, oh, I don't believe in consuming animals when my body feels like it should, because that's just running. That's literally ignoring your body and putting your beliefs first. When like that's me now, I see how like me personally, I just think that's kind of dumb within me. But like, because it's literally like that would just mean I'm ignoring myself, what my body needs. But yeah, I think he's in the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom as well. So
Yo, hold on, my phone is about to die. I gotta get a charger.
all right, bro, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Yo, the mic is on. It's muted right now. Your mic.
Oh, my fault. Yeah, I think
All right.
the call might end in a minute here because my phone's on 1%, and
Okay.
I'm trying to plug it in, but I think this charger might be messed up.
Okay.
Damn,
All
I
right.
have to get it. Yeah.
All right, man. If you want to continue the call, like if you fix it, or if you just want to end it,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I'll hit you up if I get it charged up. Oh wait, there it goes. Wait,
okay. Holy shit.
it's like blinking on and off.
Maybe
There it
like
goes. Now it's steady.
wrap it around the phone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
holding it. I think my charging port just needs to be fixed because I'm holding it in a certain position, and that's the
Yeah.
only way that it works. Anyway, okay, I guess we're good then to keep going. I missed the last part of what you were saying after I had to charge my or get my charger. So what was it that you were saying?
Shit, man, that's another thing, bro. My memory's just fucked, man. Like, and I was having a conversation with my friends again, talking about how like we're both consuming like plant-based, and both of our memories are like fucked, and like how like consuming animal products may help with that
Yeah,
in
at
life, you know?
the farm, there's a lot of people that that go there that are on the primal diet, and they believe that eating a certain organ of an animal can heal that part of your body. So if you eat the brains, they believe that can heal your brain. And that's actually why the most number one requested product in their farm is brains of animals, like brains of the cow or the goat or whatever. And they literally said that they would sell 10 times more brains than they have in stock if they had that much available. But it's in such high demand. Like they barely have any to give out to all the people that want it.
Yeah, like another thing too, like because of all like the veganism programming, like it's almost like I forgot how to eat meat. It's like I'm questioning, like, is this aspect of meat like good to eat for humans? Like me thinking about like eating brains, is that like a good thing?
Right.
But maybe that's just me like disconnected from like not eating it for so long, like literally forgetting because my beliefs, you know.
Yeah, I won't deny that the thought of me eating an organ like that still disgusts me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think honestly, the day will come where I'm gonna give it a try because I need to overcome that fear and I need to get that limited mind state out of me, regardless whether I do it long term for nourishment or what. I need to do it at least once just to get that fear out of me and stop
Yeah.
being so scared of something that might actually have a lot of healing benefits and might not be as bad as you think.
Yeah. I think what I was talking about before, I don't know if this exactly, but it was something that I wanted to bring up, is like the whole thing of like you were kind of talking about it, is how people react to what you choose to do. And like I'm I'm looking at it like from like the conscious perspective, as like I could just eat meat, and if someone asked me, I could just tell them like fuck off.
Right.
But like I like that, a part of me does want to say that, but I see that it's better to have a reason and to have a why. So that I'm still gonna eat meat, and if someone, you know, like gets triggered by it, I mean, my why right now, it's obviously going to expand, but it's really just me paying attention to my body. And I just remembered what I was talking about. I was talking about how like the reason why, like maybe, you know, people that embody the vegan diet get so triggered from when they see people eating meat is because they're um they're like thinking more so from like animal life, you know, and like when you take an animal's life. And that's like something that I'm trying to figure out within myself, is that how can I be a part of the process of taking an animal's life while still honoring it 100%. And it doesn't really make sense to me right now, but I know that there's something that I just don't know yet. And it has to do with some fucking ancestral spiritual knowledge that I just don't know yet right now, because they were doing it, and they were doing it ritualistically, which means they had a reason. So that's how I'm trying to understand it. And also, oh yeah, if someone gets triggered, and maybe it's like a partner of yours or a friend, if they have like a problem with it to where it's going to affect the relationship, it really has nothing to do with what you're doing or what you're consuming. It has to do with communication and acceptance. And like, that's something that people would have to talk out, because to me, it's just kind of dumb to just forget your relationship just because someone doesn't do what you like. To me, it's really powerful if you were to have a partner and just be okay with how they do things, because it's what they feel they have to do and need to do, not like allowing your beliefs to take over, and like your triggers to take over, to where like you don't accept them in your tribe because of something that they just believe or something. Like, it's basically a conditional aspect of living. That to me is not unconditional love. And like, you could also say that eating animals is an unconditional love, but like I was saying before, like, there's a difference between consciously doing something and unconsciously doing something. Like, I'm trying to find the reason of why, around like the spiritual essences of how I can eat animals instead of just consuming them. Like, I want to like know like the truths that are behind consuming animals.
Yeah.
So it's really just taking it to the next level. And basically, if someone doesn't, agree, that's okay. I mean, people agree and disagree. It's not about agreeing. It's about respecting. And if someone doesn't respect you, then I mean, you either communicate and come to a conclusion together, or if beliefs get in the way, then that's how you know that you guys go your separate ways.
Yeah.
So yeah,
For sure. Yeah, so to that, I would say the greatest way that I personally have found that, for me to be able to really understand the energetics and the true ritualistic, respectful ways of how um, you know, the the ancestors have had that relationship with the animals. Best way for me to experience it is to go somewhere where the people are still in touch with their ancestral traditional ways, and go and ask them or see how they do it. And that's why I went to this Amish farm, where these Amish people have been living the exact same lifestyle for more or less for several hundred years, and they've been one of like the most adamant um, cultures or groups of people that has said to the government, like, no, we're not going to conform to your standard. We're going to keep in touch with our traditions. And for that reason, they're very, there's a lot that you can learn from them, especially in that area.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have,
How do
I know
you
you
go
don't
about
have,
doing that? Like,
how do I go about it?
yeah,
So, you know, I was lucky that I have these Amish people that live relatively close by to me, that I was even able to find them in the first place. Because in most parts of the country, there's not really people out there that are friendly enough. But luckily, the Amish people are very friendly, and they're very open, and they want to share their traditions. They want to share, you know, their culture with other people that are open and willing to learn, that want to, you know, see how they can implement that into their own life too. And so when I was there, I think just the fact that I was uh, very respectful to him, the fact that like I told him that you know, everything that he's doing, that he's got going on is like very meaningful, and that our community and our society needs people like him more than ever. And just being able to uh, basically share things with him too, that like from my perspective or from my experiences that I know could also assist him. Like for example, that he was telling me about this issue with the law that he's dealing with, that he's got to pay this huge fine. And I was sharing with him like about everything that I've been studying, that I know about with common law, that what they're doing is completely against their jurisdiction, and that he can get the case thrown out, and most likely he can actually even sue them for what they're trying to accuse him of, which is like literally not doing anything wrong, because there's no people that got harmed or that got sick by eating his products, but they're claiming that it's a health hazard, and that's why they're
yeah,
giving him this huge fine just for him to sell these raw products. Um, yeah, so, and just connecting with them as a human being, not putting them on like a pedestal, or thinking that they're so different, because in reality we're all like human beings. You know, we all have the same range of emotions. We all breathe the same air. You know, finding the common ground. That's basically what I would say. Um, and just not being afraid to ask certain things, like to ask for a tour, to ask for a discount maybe, or ask for something that, you know, could be a mutual beneficial business exchange or something like that too,
yeah,
like to realize your own worth, realize your own value, and um, not going into the situation thinking what can I get out of it, but rather going into it thinking what can I give, what and what can I provide with the value that I know I have, and honoring and respecting yourself enough to know what you're worth, and giving as much as you know that they're willing to reciprocate.
yeah. The reason why I asked is because me personally, I just have like trouble with confidence. So like if I were to, just the way I'm thinking about it, if I were to like call a farm and tell them like I don't know what I would say to end up meeting at the farm. And I feel like if I were to go to the farm, it would just be like I'm not talking, and it's just like, what are you doing here, kind of thing. So that's why I was asking like, what are the things that you say or whatever. And it really just comes down to like having the confidence to speak of why you're there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You already know. You already know the answer.
And it's hard to do that because especially with like the confidence thing, and like it's basically like not allowing your fear to like consume you, and just like asking the questions that I need to ask, and just executing the mission, I guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, all fears that we have is false evidence appearing real, and it comes from the the anxiety or the worries that we have from our past, things that we cannot control, and for things in the future that have not even happened yet, that we attach onto. And
then might
those
not even
things,
be real at all.
exactly, they're never real. If you're afraid of it, it's never real. It's false evidence appearing real. And so if you're putting your focus and your energy into things that you cannot control or things that have not happened yet, then you're taking away your power. You're draining yourself, and you're gonna experience how that feels too, how limiting that feels. And you just choose to return back to the present, return back to the here and the now, where all that exists is, that's where your true power lies, where you have the ability to think anything, like choose your thoughts, choose your actions, and choose your words. Like that's the present moment is the only place where you have that ability to control that. So, you know, choosing to be present with whatever is within you, and not trying to escape it, not trying to avoid it or suppress it. It's difficult, like you said. It's definitely not always easy. It's supposed to be easy, supposed to be effortless, supposed to be our natural state. But us as humans, we live in a society that is not natural. So we have
Yeah.
influences from the outside world that are constantly trying to distract us and trying to keep us in that fear-based state. So it's no wonder why so many people suffer with that, suffer with these confidence issues, and suffer with all these other related things, because it's what's being pushed on us by society 24/7.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
let that put you into a victim mentality, because that's not going to do you any good.
Yeah.
Realize that you you don't have the ability to control what happens, but you have the ability to control how you respond 100% of the time.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've been realizing that like I know my value of like things that I bring to the world. I know the value of it, but my self-worth of how like I look at like what I'm worthy of as far as like confidence and shit is like low. It's
Right.
basically, and like I'm trying to figure out like what is self-worth like really, like, and that was something that I'll figure out like as it goes on basically. um I've been just really growing the past couple weeks. um and Basically I had a conversation with a friend about like self-worth and like all the things that I'm like afraid of doing, all the habits that I'm doing. I would look at myself as like, oh, I'll eventually do it, and I'll be like working to a future self of like mainly like focusing on the future self of like I know I'll just become that. And um like but still like indulging in the habits and just kind of just being like I know I'll like get to that level of confidence. But like basically my friend was telling me like that's so bad because like you're not doing it right now. So like what makes you think you're gonna be that if you're not doing it now? And
Hmm.
like I was just thinking like just like he gave me like this exercise that was like basically think about like you your future self being like not what you want it to be. And like that's who you'll become if you don't take action now. And that's
Mhm.
when I kind of realized, I was like, shit, I gotta change something.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be a fucking uh I don't want to be that version of myself. I want to, take my power back. I want to be in the place where I'm maintaining um my growth and my sovereignty. And to do that, I need to, start growing my self-worth up to here instead of here,
Yes.
and breaking through that ceiling that most people are in, to where their self-worth only goes up to right here, breaking through
Mhm.
that ceiling and going up here. And
Yeah, I'm
that,
gonna turn off the camera real quick. I just gonna use the bathroom, but keep going.
all right, and that basically like involves like taking action right now. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. It's funny because whenever this gets released, it will probably, or like this video call gets released, um, I'm more so like speaking to people right now. I haven't been on social media in a long time, and a lot of things that I've posted on social media, like it's a whole different aspect of like who I am now. Like I'm just kind of in a whole nother state. And yeah, it's kind of funny how this is playing out, but focusing more on me.
Yeah, I
And
feel that, man.
yeah,
Social media nowadays, that's been a major source of social anxiety. People, they think that they're on here on this app to connect with people, but really they're actually more disconnected than they've ever been by having a false image of what other people's lives are like, and then subconsciously comparing yourself to that other person. I mean, that's
yeah,
where most of all the social anxiety comes from. And I personally dealt with that a lot when I was younger too, because I didn't realize how truthfully all the things that people post on social media, majority of the time, they're only showing the good things. They're never showing you the bad things. And that gives you a false image of who they truly are. And
yeah,
then we start to idolize people that give this false image of themselves, and we think that that's the um, cool thing to do, or we think those are the people to look up to,
yeah,
you know? But if you just put the phone down, you went outside and you connected with people that are there right in front of you, like, and when you're out there walking into some public place, and instead of just ignoring all the people around you, maybe to smile at someone or hold a door for somebody or do some act of kindness, you'll see that the connections you make in real life are infinitely times greater than whatever kind of connection you would make on a social media. And you can learn much more about a person that way too. you
yeah,
know um
yeah. Like I really want to be a part of like a physical community, because I've been thinking about something recently, like if you don't have a physical community, like what happens if your social media just wipes? What kind of impact do you have, like on a physical level? It's literally none if you don't have a physical community. Like sure, like you have like that memory within people that don't even know you, but like within like the mission of people that really want to make an imprint on this planet, it involves more than just some social media outlet.
Very true.
That an impact is more than just some social media stuff and some like random people on the internet. Like, I'm not saying you're random or these people are random, but like, it's different than like actually being there speaking to people on a daily, or not daily, but like a consistent basis, and you guys being a family together, like really there, like there in the physical, you know. And of course, it's also like an intentional thing too, like, you know, certain people on my social media, like I try to form certain relationship with some of them, you know, a certain relationship. Some of them, you know, some people are, you know, more closer to me than others, but, you know, make sure to have like some kind of community on a certain level. But
Yeah.
a physical community is always more impactful and more real, because that's
Absolutely.
life. That's fucking real shit.
That's a big point, man. And
Yeah.
that's 100% my vision as well. That's why I use the social media as a tool. Most people, they use it as a distraction, you know, and they're scrolling down their timelines and they're looking at what other people do, and they're not thinking about like the things that they can share, that they can create. And what you really can create is you can use the social media to create communities that maybe they first start out online, but they eventually turn into something like in real life. And the agenda that the people have, that these social media apps and the ones that are above them making the decisions, they want us to be stuck in this virtual world so that they can meanwhile take over the real world. And people, instead of coming together in the real world, they'll be coming up in the digital where they can't really do anything, you know. And not, I mean, not to say that there isn't a great impact you can still have by utilizing it, but um, the way that most people do, it's not really getting them anywhere. So
Yeah.
that's why the only people that I'm really like surrounding myself with are the ones that are like-minded, like you and I, that are wanting to create something like a real community, that like people can learn how to live in harmony with themselves, with nature, with the world around them, so that like we can start working together. And that's the real way to overthrow these systems that are here to oppress us. You know, that's the true anarchy, is
Yeah.
coming together, forming something on your own, rather than trying to like fight the system, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Just claiming your power, claiming your sovereignty
Hmm.
on an individual level as well as like external level, something that I plan to manifest. Yeah.
You already have manifested it. It's already here. It's a sovereignty. It's not like a one achievement or one thing that you do that now you're sovereign. It's like coming back into reclaiming what already lies within you, you know, what already is your God-given birthright, to be a sovereign individual, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
free to express yourself, to live that way. And the twisted thing that most people think is that it's something out there that you have to obtain, you know. And even for me, I thought that for a long time too, that, but that will keep you on a never ending chase for your entire life, and you'll never get to that point, you know,
Yeah.
that you think that you have to get to.
Yeah. It's actually what I was kind of in to a certain degree, while also knowing that it is like God given, but more so, I guess it's just about realizing that like all the shit that we've been fed informationally wise is fucking bullshit,
Yeah.
and really like connecting back to like it is like really God given.
Mm,
It's like,
embodying that is a whole other thing. That's for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, because then on the day-to-day basis, when things come up that don't go your way, or people come into your life, or you get distracted by all these things that are trying to take you down, how firm can you stay in that inner knowing, and that holding that vibration, you know, even through those difficult times? That's the test that God gives us. And that's why you see all the evil in the world. People, like, a lot of people ask the question, if God truly does exist, why does he let all these evil things happen? They're there to test, to see who are the ones that are going to keep their faith, who are the ones that are going to keep their trust. The those are God's children. I mean, we're all God's children, but those are
yeah,
the chosen ones that are here to uplift and bring the rest of us back into that state, and
yeah,
only through that way will we be able to truly evolve as a species to truly uh you know bring our um bring out our greatest potential within each one of us, to create the heaven on earth, because heaven is not somewhere outside. It's not like a place you go to when you die. It's a state of consciousness, and
yeah,
that's, we're here on earth to bring that state of consciousness into our reality in the midst of what it seems to be hell. What people think is hell, but is literally just um their own state of consciousness of doing things that are destructive to themselves, that then they see that in the outside world, because of course whatever has within, so without. Whatever you're projecting within yourself is what you're going to see projected in the outside world.
yeah. I love
So
you, man.
love you too, brother.
It's
I feel
nice.
like we made a lot
Yeah,
of progress internally today, both of us.
yeah. I feel like
And
I'm going in another direction with like what I'm doing.
mm,
Like, I don't know. Like, because of my energy levels, I haven't been really even wanting to talk to anyone.
right.
Just from like an energy level of like really savoring my energy. But at the same time, just like not wanting to talk to certain people, not for any specific reason of them being a certain way, just kind of just savoring my energy. And like now for the past couple of days, I don't know if that has anything to do with March, but I've just
Mm,
kind of been like talking and like helping a bunch of people. And it's like
mm,
I'm really trying, and it's like my energy almost isn't even affected. Like
mhm,
maybe because I'm ignoring it, or it's just because I'm just like fuck it, like I'm just like trying like absolute hardest, as well as knowing that I'm like switching my way of life. Like my energy right now might be because of the food that I'm consuming, and like as I'm transitioning, I might like totally change my energy, which is why I might be talking to more people right now. Like
yeah.
I don't fucking know, bro. All I know is shit's changing. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's not just you. It's definitely a astrological shift that's occurring as well, and just like a overall, like, the frequency of the planet rising. Um, that, like, as time goes on, especially right now, like, um, going through the greatest transformation in society that has ever been seen before. Everyone is getting
yeah,
tested and having the things that they've been burying deep inside them brought out to the surface, and that has to be expressed in order for you to fully move through it. Otherwise you'll be depressed, the opposite of expression. And yeah, it's just such a blessing that like we have this knowledge, that we have this God-given wisdom inside of us, that we have the ability to share with other people. And the fact that you and I like have gotten to where we are now is the greatest confirmation that we could ever need, to know that like we're here to make an impact that's really gonna change the entire collective. And so
Yeah.
everything we're doing now, like just focusing on yourself, like you said, savoring in your own energy, um, and learning how to cultivate it, is it's going to have a ripple effect in the outside world. So just focus on that primarily, focus on your internal world, and you'll see it blossom like on a quantum level, on a level that you can't even comprehend with just your physical senses,
Mhm.
and the the rewards for that is true fulfillment, true um, satisfaction in life, and not just for you, but for everything around you.
Hell yes. And that kind of brings full circle. Like, even though for the past 20 minutes, we weren't really talking about listening to your body, but fulfillment has a lot to do with it. So just bringing it full circle.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
of course, man. That's what we're here to do, and we came into this life. We've been going through so many lives. Like the fact that we have been able to get to this point so early, it's a clear indication of that. The fact that we've been doing this for many lifetimes, and we've chosen to come back here because like there's still things that throughout all the lifetimes that we've lived that we still haven't fully integrated, that we haven't still fully overcome. And so reclaiming that sovereignty, everything that we've been speaking about, I mean, that's literally the mission why we're here. And once we do that, we're ready to move on to something greater. And we don't have to keep going back into this never ending cycle that really has our souls binded in limitations. Because I think really being human, it's all about finding the tapping into that infinite source of creativity and imagination within a limited body, and that's the beauty of the human experience.
yeah, yeah,
You can't rise above it until you learn how to go within it. you know there's no rising above, it's only going within.
yeah. And the more you escape it, you're just gonna stay where you are. And
Exactly.
if you keep escaping it, you're gonna end up who you don't want to be,
Mm,
or
yeah.
end up regretting should have done this. Just like really thinking about like your sovereignty and how that makes you feel. It like no one like truly wants to feel empowered and not or I mean disempowered. Disempowered,
Disempowered,
I
yeah.
mean, like in like, I'm not telling people what to think or how to think, but I truly believe within every single person, everyone wants to feel empowered, and regardless of what they tell me, because like that's just, living at your highest peak of who you are. Who wouldn't want that?
Mm,
It's who would want to feel like you're literally under someone's boot? No one. Like
mm.
everyone wants to be like the one that's in control of themselves.
Yeah, that's
Or
what they
sovereignty.
want, but are they willing to do what it
Yeah,
takes? That's the question.
yeah,
you know it requires you it requires responsibility. With great power comes with great responsibility, you know. So if you really want to maintain that power that you already know does lie and exist within inside of you, um, you know, you have to be able to go into those situations, into those places that you've been scared to go into for your entire life, the places that take you out of your comfort zone, the places that really challenge, you know, the the ways of staying complacent that we've been falling into for our entire lives, like just going and having the same routines day in and day out, um, and thinking that like the safe way is what is going to be like the easiest, you
Yeah.
know. But really, the path of least resistance, the path of true ease, it comes from uh you know, not resisting anything that comes into your reality, facing it head on. That's the true path of least resistance, you know. um but it takes responsibility to do that. It takes dedication, takes commitment, takes persistence, and takes love for yourself. Ultimately, that's the greatest thing that, you know, will get you through anything.
Yeah. And worth and self-worth, like all around self-love, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yeah.
funny that people think that like it's so complex, that life is so complex, but really life is as simple as you make it. And it's meant to be uh, a journey that you don't have to try or to think too hard about. If you look at the animals, you look at the all the other living beings on this planet that that are living in harmony with the nature around them, they're not like thinking twice about their decision. They're
Yeah.
they're literally living as a complete embodiment of God's will, natural law, whatever you want to call it. And that natural law, that's the same thing that created us humans, that created this life that we came into. And we've just lost touch with that. And so it's just about returning back into it, not even um, not even anything new. There's nothing new under the sun.
That kind of went over my head. But
I
yeah.
think the last thing I could have stated that clearer. It's not really anything like that we haven't already been doing, that we already don't know how to do. It's literally complete effortless living. It's
Yeah.
where you don't have to think about it at all. So it shouldn't fly over your head. You know,
Yeah.
nothing nothing that I'm saying should be flying over your head if you're really uh feeling into what I'm saying. Don't just listen to the words that are coming out my mouth, but feel the vibration behind what I'm saying, and you'll understand, because you can't mentally grasp onto it. It's never going to work. You can't use your mind to try to understand that.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Try to logically understand that, you'll be confused.
So it's just about letting it be then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, man. Well, obviously, this is like moving mountains for people and shit. All these gems, you know, just like instead of, you know, talking about it like it's a podcast thing, like just turning like this was kind of just like it was a phone call kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, like a lot more can like come out of something if it's just like an intention beyond like a phone call, you know, or
Yeah.
not, or just
Yeah.
talking, you know, without any like conditions about like, oh, I gotta like sit up straight for people and talk a certain way that's
Yeah.
more presentable. instead just like, talking like I'm on the phone with someone.
Hmm.
And that's like very powerful.
Yeah, I mean that's what people like the most. They don't want to see you trying to be somebody that you're really not.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that. They want to see the
Yeah.
authentic, the real, raw you.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Well, this was really great, man. And yeah.
I'm glad. I mean, very much same for me as well. I mean, I I feel like this call in particular, um, it helped me to even get more clear for myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. Going into this new journey with the diet and with not just that, but with everything that I'm doing in my life now. And I think for both of us, the main things that what I think we both got out of it is to realize like that we're here to bring all of this into something that we can share with the world, and you know at the same time honor our value, what we know we're worth, and to really create the career, the life, and the reality of our dreams. Like our greatest dreams of what we know our highest potential to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just so glad that we got to reflect that within each other to help bring that out, because we're both coming from that same place, that same intention. And like that's very rare to find nowadays. Like a lot of people are just coming from a place of very divided, biased thinking, like what can I get out of this, and that kind of mentality. um but yeah, to find people like yourself is rare, so I just want to honor you for that, brother.
Honor you as well, man.
Mhm.
Thank you. You know, this is something we did together,
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And we're helping each other too, because, within like sovereignty, some that I'm realizing too. So like within my life right now, I'm like, I don't have much like responsibility around like physical or financial abundance. And I'm like, been conditioning myself to like always have someone else like help me.
Hmm.
And so much so to where like I feel like I need help. And I know that sovereignty is something that, no one can save you. You have to like, claim it yourself. But I really feel like I need some help, and I'm not
Hmm.
like shying away from it, because I know that, this isn't, even though this is a journey that I claim myself, I also, I might not, I don't know if it's something that everyone. Should do alone.
Hmm.
Like there's always assistance that can happen.
Yeah, I
And
think that's another misconception or another distortion of what people think, is that that we have to do this work alone. um, but I think really we most cases we grow much better when we're doing it together, because
yeah.
there's certain things that you've learned that I have learned from you, that only you could teach me, that I might never have realized for myself if it wasn't for you know uh, the reflection that you brought out within me. um, so it's realizing that all that anyone else can ever do is point you in the direction towards yourself. um, you know but that right there is so valuable, because you know you can't think or expect that you'll be able to get to the same places just on your own either.
Yeah.
you know
And yeah, that too, like I'm trying to like learn more about sovereignty and law and stuff. And like right now, like a lot of people are like providing me certain things, and like I'm really trying as well, but a lot like I still don't like understand it. So I feel like I just need someone to like help me, like more so like on a one-on-one level, like sort of like a teacher. Like I feel like I'm like embodying the essence of the student now. Like
Yeah.
I know like we're like every teacher is also a student, but I really feel like I like really need to be like a student right now. Like
Hmm.
and like yeah.
Well, if you're willing to like make the investment, make the um, you know, the commitment to diving into that, I think, I know the resources that will help you with that. I mean, there's have you ever heard of iselflawandmaster.com?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have you gotten this subscription or thought about getting one?
No, no, I haven't like dove that far into it, but I know who it is though.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following him for many years and doing all the research, basically just like paying attention to everything that he posts about. And I've gotten all of the free game that he's offered, and I haven't gone into the subscription service just yet because, kind of like yourself, I'm not at a point where I really need it just yet for anything in particular like I that I know I'm gonna need it for, but I know the time will come, and I'm
Yeah.
just kind of delaying it and putting it off. But I feel like right now, I've also had a lot of situations that have come up where this is going to be something that will really help me to get to where, get to where I know that I'm headed towards at a much
Yeah.
faster rate. So I feel like now's the time for me to go into it as well.
Yeah. Same for me.
So we can definitely
Yeah.
stay in touch about that and assist each other, um, hold each other accountable, and um, you know, yeah, be there for each other when we have questions and that kind of stuff. Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to claim that I could just teach you about that, but I'll
Yeah.
point you in the direction of the teacher
Yeah.
and, you know, be a student with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man.
Mhm.
And I guess could end it on that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I really can't even thank you enough. Like, I mean, just expressing pure gratitude for everything that was shared and expressed within this call. Because I don't have calls like this very often that go this deep, even when I'm doing interviews or podcasts or stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was just the timing where I'm at in my life, like with everything that's been going on, and just stepping into this new chapter for myself that really needed to have a talk like this. So glad
Yeah.
that it manifested the way that it did.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you want to put this in the recording, but it's kind of like personal stuff, but basically
Here,
like,
I'm gonna just stop it right now.
all right.